It's late. He's just come to bed. But it's always been like this. And it's fine. It really is fine. Furlough's got us both into some strange new time zone. A new rhythm. Breakfast is a movable feast somewhere between 11 a.m. and 3 p.m. 11 p.m. to 3 a.m, well, that's game time. And that's fine. I don't sleep too well if he's in here with me. And I don't like being held tight. Not always. I move around too much, and he lays there all night motionless, and he's so much bigger than me. A huge piece of motionless meat. Try sleeping with a dead cow in your bed. So I've done a lot of reading, and I've learned a lot. Coming out of lockdown was an education in itself. They opened us up, the non-essential businesses. Customers coughing and shouting and complaining their spittle across my visor. Oh, do I have to wash my hands? I didn't believe in all that. This cheeky old boy's grinning at me. No mask. You don't believe in germ theory? Wow, that's niche. I got a telling off for that. And that's when I started thinking about being non-essential. Before this happened, it was essential that I drag myself out of bed, pack myself in a metal tube with the diseased, the dying, and fritter my life away in service of someone so pathetic and pitiful he hides his money in a Caribbean island. Imagine being that guy. So terrified that some of his pennies might buy a stethoscope or a pay rise for a nurse. Propping up pricks like that was essential. And then it wasn't. And now it is again. Like my dad. He was essential. And then they closed the pit. I was just a kid, but you'd think I'd have learned. Nothing is essential forever. Times change. If you can't work from home, watch out. Wait and see where essentialness will land you. I wish people could see what's coming. It's an angry, furry, rodent thought scurrying around my brain. The rodent brain that won't stop gnawing, but what can you do when the country is a stinking, sinking ship and day after day they turn those inhuman pig-red eyes into the camera and lie? Make their mistakes our movements, their delays our decisions, their failures our faults. And King Rat himself, with 100,000 unnecessary deaths under his belt, a true British hero. It makes you fit to scream at the impossibility of being lumbered with these twats while the world goes to shit. I didn't want it to be true. I made believe there was a golden age to reach back to. And maybe we might reach for each other again. But history whips the surface like a whale's tail. And that's when you realise that worse than there never having been a golden age, but the one you're living in, is the age of idiots. Back then, a witch doctor would sell you a bag of herbs, and if you're still sick in the morning, well, God's mysterious, but at least a quack knows he's a quack. And even the plague doctors knew enough to wear a fucking mask. Look how far we've come. An age of genius. A vaccine in a year. An age of idiots. People prepared to die of their own ignorance. And me, stuck with it all. And just when I thought I could step outside and let that breath go, they plunged me under. Without breath and water, rising, made redundant. Just in time for the second wave. Then one night they found me, those wicked Tory rodent thoughts, as I lay in bed listening to the fella's dreams. He says something's burning. I stroke his back until he's settled, and then I think about the world turning and burning, and the thought creeps in. The break the world's getting, is it healing? They say the air's cleaner, and there's whales in the Forth. And maybe, just maybe this is what the world needs. Maybe a few 100 million deaths is what we need to put the world back on its axis. My eyes snap open. I realise immediately what I've done, how terrible it is. I feel the probing finger of the universe come down and prod me just underneath my ribs, like the cosmos heard my thought and some supernatural justice poked through the clouds and said, "You, I'll teach you a thing or two about life." And right then and there, I knew, as sure as if I'd been told. I spent the rest of the night staring at the ceiling. At long last, he hears me worrying, rolls over. "Listen," I said, "I'm pregnant." He looks frightened, like a little boy. "How?" "Well, when mummies and daddies love each other very much." My joke doesn't land. They never do. He's still there, grim, sad, scared. "How'd you know?" "I just know." "Aye, but how?" "Just a feeling." "You missed your period?" "Not yet." "Well, how'd you know?" "Will you relax? It's not going to burst out any minute like a fucking alien." He reaches out and takes my hand. And for a minute, I think he's going to say something soothing. Like maybe reassure me for a second, but no. No fucking luck. "I'll go down the chemist and I'll get you a test." He smiles. He's trying. I don't need a fucking test. I knew it was my punishment for wicked thoughts or wicked ways, or well, Mum was Catholic, so just generally being wicked, I suppose, and wicked for fucking with all the dying going on. No! For the rodent thought. The brain breathing out. Writing off 100 million lives, knowing full well it wouldn't be enough to make the slightest difference. And so I was given a life. But it was punishment. You've got a life now. And there's death potential in every breath. Every surface is deadly. You'll be boiling and cleaning till the steam cooks you. This is what you must go through. This is what it means to be essential. He rolls back, breathes out long like he's thinking. Not too hard though, because he says, "You're too old. 41, that's pushing it." I could have punched him. But I got up instead, drank some water and got down to some yoga. After a few minutes, the bear pads in and sits and breathes with me. He's been good about that these days, since he can't afford the fags anymore. Or beer or pizza or all the other little things he used to freeze out his nibbling thoughts. So we sit and stretch, and the winter sun comes and warms our faces for a second. And we breathe. And then he says, "I wouldn't mind, you know." "What's that?" "A wee boy or a girl." He corrects himself in time. Or anything." A unique moment. Woke and awake, and it's only 9 a.m. I'm impressed. And at least we're on the same page. It's not ideal, but it's not like we're doing anything else. For the rest of the day, it seemed like we'd turned a corner. Like the heaviness inside me was gone, and I could breathe. So I went to see a doctor. And after some prodding and poking and peeing and joking, the doc looks over her glasses at me and asks, "Is everything all right?" Is everything all right? Well, let me see now. The long, low, rolling, never completed wave of air on hold gears up. Money spiralling away, not replaced. Quitting fags, then gum, then sweets. Then talking, then thinking, worrying. What if Mum gets it? Dad, Nan, him? My anger at me, at him, the system, the politicians, the bankers, the anti-vaxxers, all the people making a profit, all the people apparently living their best life in the worst of times, and me. What am I doing? Wasting your time, Doc. But I lied beautifully. Aye, why? She sighs, looks down at her notes. I'm not pregnant, am I? She takes off her glasses. Is she smiling beneath that mask? No, she says. No, you're not. Just like that. Non-essential after all.